Hello, welcome back everyone to another episode of the Device Diaries. Today is actually episode 21. I cannot believe it. We've been doing this for a while. And today's episode is actually really cool. I titled it Don't Fake It Until You Make It, you guys. And this is a good segue from our episode 20 that I recorded last week. If you missed it, go to Spotify. It's titled Authenticity. And today I have a very special guest, and his name is Sergio. I'm gonna ruin your last name. Can you just say it for me?
My last name is Spasov.
Spasov. All right, Sergio. Without further ado, Sergio, can you tell us who Sergio is?
Yeah, no, thanks. First of all, thanks for having me, guys. I think this is awesome to share our experiences and knowledge in the field, and I'm super happy to be here, and the fact that we get to work at the same company and have collaborated in the past too is awesome. So first and foremost, thanks for having me. My name is Sergio. I live in Phoenix, Arizona, and I'm a peripheral vascular sales rep for Medtronic. Been in the field in the medical device industry for a little over 7 years. Been with Medtronic for 4. I started in the med-surg division with our advanced instrumentation division, and then last October, decided to make the switch over to vascular, and wanted to stay internal with Medtronic and assume a new role and go through a different path and a new challenge. So vascular has been my home for the last year, and I'm super happy that I decided to take on this challenge.
That's awesome. And it's funny, you guys, because Sergio and I actually met because Gaida was trying to think outside of the box. And I started selling to vascular surgeons because one of my devices is indicated for that. And we actually got connected by the docs that we're both trying to sell to. He's already been working with the doc. I'm trying to get into the office. And we did this. I posted about it. Of course, I posted about it. We did this collaboration, and we went to this amazing conference, and we learned a lot about each other. And it's crazy because it doesn't matter which type of selling you're doing or which type of division you're in. The process stays the same, you guys. All right. So today, again, I titled this episode, Don't Fake It Until You Make It, because I feel like a lot of reps will come into a territory, will come into an office unfreaking prepared. Sergio, let's talk about that for a second. Can you walk us through a day in the life of Sergio?
So every day is very different. There could be days where you get a call at 6:30 in the morning and needing to run product to a hospital because there's a surgery and they're out of a specific size. So it could start hectic with trying to scramble and last minute trying to find that product for the surgeon in order to be able to give that to the patient. It could be a slower day where there's a lot of admin work to do and you need to catch up on all emails and work on contracting and pricing, getting everything presented for a big meeting. So every day can be completely different. But what I've always tried to do is, no matter, even if it's a very slow day case-wise and there's not many surgeries, try to get in front of as many customers as possible. See them, ask how they're doing, check in on them. There's always something that you can find out from them. It could be something big, it could be a big opportunity. It could be, just planning for the next week. So I always try, no matter, how busy or slow the day is, to at least, go to 2 or 3 accounts, stop in, say hello, see what's going on. There's always something that we can do for the customer.
Amen. And also really understanding your product and really understanding the process. And I can't stress this enough because I can't tell you how many sales reps I've seen that walks into a meeting or an OR just throwing up features and benefits. I'm like, what are you doing? Stop.
Right.
You're embarrassing yourself, and not asking the right questions. I mean, perfect example. I saw Sergio grinding. And I remember going to a conference with him, and I'm going to highlight this because I was very impressed. He has a list of names of people he wanted to talk to, and he knows exactly what their background is. So let's talk about that for a second, Sergio. Why do you think it's important to be prepared?
Well, in this, I love the name of this episode, Don't Fake It Until You Make It, because in this space, I think more than any other space, you can't fake it. Everyone is going to realize right away that you are faking it. And maybe in another space, another industry or business, you can, fake it and people might buy into it. But in this industry, in this space, being authentic and being real goes a long way, and you cannot fake it. So, being prepared, knowing who you're talking to, asking the right questions is the most important thing. You can't sell something without there being a need in this industry. And if you don't uncover the need, if you don't add value to your customer, then you're doing the wrong thing. So being prepared, whether, that's doing your homework before seeing the customer, or asking the right questions, or doing the post work and following up with them and setting everything up, is the most important thing that you can do.
Amen. And you raised a huge point about following up with them. Okay. And when we talk about following up, guys, we're not talking about just an email saying like, hey, I just want to follow up. If you do that, get out of here. Like, I hate when I get email. This is me. I just want to follow up. About what? Talk about the history. Have some, right? Like, we talk about this. These are the needs that you mentioned to me, and this is how I can solve the problem. And there's an attachment here for studies and all the things that you need. I'm trying to make it easy for you. And I already type your name down because I'm gonna remove that extra step for you. Let's talk about that, Sergio. Like, why is it important to make it as easy as possible for your customers to purchase from you?
Because they're already busy. They have so much going on now. In our space, there are multiple customers. It could be the surgeon, it could be director of materials, it could be the scrub tech. There's many different stakeholders involved in the process, and they're all busy in their own way. So they have, pressures coming from all over the place. They're stressed. Let's talk about the doctors and the end user. They're dealing with patient lives, and they have so much going on, so much to think about, so much to balance. The last thing they need is someone like me, a rep, coming in, giving other problems to think about and making things difficult for them. The doctors always want to partner with a rep who adds value. There's many reps out there who just focus on going in, selling the product, trying to grow their business, hit their quota, but they forget the big picture and they forget why they're there. So that's the one thing that I always try to think about first. Is it's first about the patient. Also, obviously the doctor is extremely important, but we're all here for one reason, and that's for the patient. So I try to make things as easy as possible. I try to be the easiest person that they're going to work with. Working for Medtronic makes things easy in the sense that we have support from many different angles. So if I feel like I need someone to come in and maybe paint a better picture on something or shed some light better than I can, I feel like I have that opportunity to bring them in, and then at the end of the day, make things easier for the doctor.
Yes, and that's the power of networking, you guys. That's the power of thinking outside of the box. That's the power of emotional intelligence. I can go on, and I know I repeat this a lot because I feel like it won't get engraved in people's head if they just hear it once or twice. It all ties in together, you guys. And I think for me, the biggest thing that I hate is when people come in with a prepared pitch. Now, you can have an idea of what you're going to say, and that's cool, right? But don't have it so memorized to where it sounds really fake, right? And I feel like a lot of other reps memorize it. Like, I practice it to my dog, don't get me wrong, but every single person that I talk to will sound different because their needs are going to be different, right? So, and that goes back to really understanding the area of care you're trying to sell to and the person whom you're trying to sell it to, okay? And like what Sergio said, there's different stakeholders. So you have to be able to speak to their verbiage because they're going to speak differently. Let's talk about that more, Sergio. Like, why is it important to really understand the lingo of the customer you're trying to sell to?
Because everyone responds to feedback, to advice, and to information differently. How I interact with you could be a lot different than how I interact with another sales rep and my manager. Or how I interact with a scrub tech is going to be a lot different than how I interact with a doctor. And the reps and the anyone in medical device who interacts with customers, no matter if they're a scrub tech, someone in SPD, someone in C-suite or the doctor, they need to know what's important to them. And it starts with asking the right questions, like we talked about initially. If you don't ask the right questions and you don't know what's important to them, then the way that you communicate and the way that you will pitch what you need to talk about is not going to be effective. So you need to know who you're talking to, what's important to them, what they care about the most, and then you change based on what your end goal is. You tailor it exactly to their needs and wants.
Yes. Amen. Amen. And it's not always about the money, right? And I know we have big quotas, and beginning of the year we get all like, this is your quota, we get stressed out about it. For me, well, first of all, let me just be clear. It's really important that you understand your quota. It's important that you understand how you're making the money, right? If you're not looking at your quota, what are you doing? But there's always a but. Don't focus so much of your energy like looking at your quota every day and stressing over it. The only thing you can control in this world is daily activities. What are you doing every day that's going to lead you to that end goal? Okay. There's no reason to be in front of your computer 24/7 trying to figure out ways. Yes, you have to strategize, but a lot of times it takes you just going out there and just being very bold and honest. I can't tell you how many situations I put myself into to where, what am I doing? Like, I'm so unprepared. But just remember that you're not, a company like this company that we're in, is not going to hire you because you suck. They saw something in you. Okay. You just have to believe in yourself. And I remember last night I was out to dinner with my manager and we talk about self-limiting beliefs. Let's talk about that, Sergio. Like, why is it important to get that negativity that you're not enough, you can't do it, or somebody's better than you?
Well, I think first of all, what's something that we can all say is anyone in this industry we can say that we're very hard on ourselves. And sometimes our biggest critics are ourselves. And it's very hard in sales. You're going to have days where you're doing great. Some days you're going to be doing really crappy. And then some other days you start off with a really, really good day. It might be a great case, a great sell. And then you find out that you might have lost a contract. So there are many fluctuations and swings that happen in sales. And it is very easy to get down on yourself and to think about all the negatives. And like you said, you look at your quota in the morning, you're like, oh my God, I'm 70% to quota with 30 days left and I suck and there's nothing I can do to hit my AOP. So what am I going to do? So, and you naturally, as a high performing sales rep, you get down on yourself, you criticize yourself and you can get very down. One thing that I've always tried to do, and I think I'm doing a better job of, especially in situations where, I'm down and feel like I'm far away from that end goal, which is, to hit AOP, is to focus on the small wins and see what can I do today. And if I feel like I focus on the little things, end of the day, I might not hit my AOP for the quarter, for the year, but that will just carry on for the next quarter, the next year, and I'll have all the momentum going forward. So I feel like if I focus on the little things, start winning a little bit, you don't have to convert a whole new hospital. You don't have to win a new contract at a massive IDN. If you just win something, it might be the smallest thing in the world, but that's going to amount to something. And then if every day you just have small wins, you will just feel so much better about yourself. And then you'll have so much more confidence going into the next day, next quarter, next year.
Amen. And life is about learning, you guys. If you're not failing, I won't even call it failing. Well, maybe let's call it failing. You're not learning, might as well die. And I believe in that stuff. So you're never gonna stop learning. Okay. And I think that I want to stress this. It doesn't matter if you've been in the industry for 30, 40 years. Last night, perfect example, we're talking about AI, because this medicine is constantly, like, technologies are constantly emerging. It's constantly changing. So it's your job to adapt. Okay. Back then when I first started, there wasn't nobody's really using social media, now, everybody seems to be using it because they understand the power of leveraging digital marketing at scale to really get in front of your customers, especially during COVID when everything was shut down. Let's talk about that. How was your business during COVID?
It was tough. We weren't allowed to, really to go in the OR. This was before I switched over to vascular. I think some of the vascular reps and some of my partners that I work with now, It was a little different situation for them, but being in med surge, we really weren't allowed to be in the OR unless it was a case where the doctor really needed us. So we had to find ways to be productive, and we all know that it's tough to do. It's tough for us. We're high performers. We want to be outside. We're sociable. We want to grind. We want to be out. It's just hard to be in front of the computer all day, or trying to find ways to be busy. I wasn't in front of the computer all day, and I wasn't crunching numbers and analyzing everything. But I used the opportunity to just become a little better with our data analytics and reporting tools. So I'm still not great at Salesforce, or it's not good at Tableau, or all of the other reporting tools that we have to analyze and break down your territory. But I feel like I used that time to get a little better at it. I phoned a few friends who are really good at this, and I just tried to learn something. And I think this is what we can all do every day, is find an opportunity to learn something new. You mentioned something about failing just a few minutes ago, and I just got back from a leadership meeting, and one of the things that I took from that is someone said, FAIL stands for first attempt in learning. And I love that, because you can't learn without failing, and failing is part of the process. So I felt like during COVID, just to tie everything in, during COVID, we weren't able to be in the OR, and obviously numbers were down. It seemed like we were failing, but one win was that I felt like I became a little better at the analytics, at numbers and reporting tools that we have.
Yeah, you guys. And that's huge too. If you're not using any reporting tools, or if you're not analyzing your sales, your territory, if you're not looking at your top 10 accounts or opportunities, you guys are missing out. And I remember talking to other people about it, because I love analytics. I'm a total nerd. Like, I would even track to the T of like how many views this specific, let's just talk about social media again, like, because I love social media, obviously. This specific post got, how many interactions, how many clicks, how many this. So same thing with sales, you guys. Like, when you look at your emails, how many responses, how quick are the responses, or how big is my pipeline, or how many opportunity did I get from this opportunity, right? So sometimes a small opportunity can lead to a bigger sale if you just understand the process. And that goes back to being truthful. Don't fake it till you make it. Being authentic. Serving your customers. Like, I can't tell you, Sergio, how many businesses, how many opportunities I've grown thinking that I'm only going to sell one item, and it turned into millions of dollars.
Sure.
Because I was honest with my customers. I stood by their side. I told them anything that I say that I was going to do, I did. So let's talk about that, Sergio, because I know you're an honest man. That's why I like talking to you about this. Tell me about, I want people to really realize, because there's so many tactics out there, and I hate tactics, why it's important, okay, to be very honest with your customers. And I'm saying, like, hey, if I don't know the answer, I don't know the answer.
Because at the end of the day, you're dealing with patient lives, and there's a lot at stake, and there's not much room for error. And the one thing that you can do to lose all the trust is to fake it and make something up and act like you know something, and it turns out to be wrong. I feel like being authentic and being honest and real is so much better than trying to seem that you're a lot smarter than what you are, or trying to appear that you're much more knowledgeable. I think being honest goes a long way. And there's been numerous situations, especially new in my roles, where I told the doctor, I'm new, I'm just starting. I just got through training. I don't know the answer to this, but I promise I will find out and get back to you. And once I got out of that situation, whether it was a meeting, a lunch, or a case, my first priority was to find out that answer and then to follow up with them. And they really appreciate it, because I think there's a few folks out there maybe who, they overpromise and underdeliver, and we try to do the opposite. So they were happy and excited to get the answer that they were looking for. And if you're authentic and honest and upfront and say, hey, I don't know the answer to this, but I will do everything I can to find out as quick as possible, that goes a long way.
Yes, and a lot of times too, you guys, because I was an OR rep for 14 years, I sold spine implants. A lot of times, if you're brand new in the room and they're trying to test you out, first of all, you're not smarter than them, okay? They're the ones that went to med school. So, but you have to know your products. Okay. You have to know every detail about your products. Now, what happened in my situation was the surgeon was just trying to test me to see if I understand anatomy. So he literally put me on the spot and we were looking at x-rays together, and it's with this brand new device that I just started learning. Like it came out like a week ago, and we're testing it out with one of his patients. And he's asking me like questions like, okay, Gaida, is it supposed to be lateral or medial, or where is it supposed to go? And I froze and I didn't say a word because I know I didn't know the answer. And then he goes, it's okay to tell me you don't know. I said, Doc, I don't know. I'm brand new to this. I'm still learning. He goes, let me teach you. So you already know the answer. He's just
Amazing.
testing me. And that's
Yeah.
one thing I want to emphasize to you guys, because sometimes I know it's unfortunate, but we do it too. We're human. Sometimes we like to test people by asking them questions that we already know the answer to, and seeing if they tell you the right answer, if they tell you the truth, if they lie to your face. Right? That's the worst thing you can do. It doesn't matter if it's a professional relationship, it could be a romantic relationship, right? And that's how you earn trust, right? And a lot of times, you guys, all you got to do is be honest, be authentic, going back to don't fake it till you make it, and just fight for your customers. So let's talk about that, Sergio, because I feel like you and I are the same when it comes to like fighting for our customers, because patient safety always comes first. So let's talk about this.
Absolutely. Just in regards to the concept of patient safety coming first.
Yes.
Well, that's the reason why we're here, and that's the reason why we do what we do is we want to make an impact, and we want to improve and change patients' lives. So, at least in my situation, working for Medtronic, one of the things is that I carry going into every day is knowing that we have the best technologies, and we're able to provide the best value for our patients, and then also for our doctors. So it gives me all the confidence in the world to go in there. I'm passionate about what I do because I love hearing success stories and how patients were able to recover and do a lot better, and how their lives have changed post-treatment. So it's the passion and going in knowing that you have certain therapies and certain products that, if used correctly and positioned correctly, will make a huge impact.
I know, and that's huge. I'm glad that you said that, Sergio, because a lot of times, and I've heard this over and over, and it breaks my heart when reps come up to me. I hate this. I hate this. They're talking shit about their products. And I said, well, you're probably in the wrong industry, and you probably should quit your job, because my whole life, like when I'm wearing my company name, that's my badge of honor. I wear that proudly, and I would talk about it. And it doesn't, like, not all solutions are going to be perfect, you guys. Of course, things break, and that's just life. All right. But you have to be able to pivot. But it starts with believing in your product. And I feel like a lot of people are so negative, talking about limiting beliefs again, that when things go south, they don't understand like which direction to go. I mean, don't lie about it. Admit, hey, I'm sorry. Let me work on this. Let me talk to my manager. Let me get people involved so this problem never happens again. But again, things break, you guys. I mean, think about your kitchen. Think about like your just day-to-day life, your TV, right? Those are technologies. So Sergio, let's talk about that more. I want to hear your side as far as, when things go south, like when things break, when one of your devices break, like how do you approach that, and how do you talk to your customers about it, while staying authentic and true without basically talking crap about your company? It's
Sure.
it's a huge question.
Yeah, that's a great question, and things go south all the time. It might not necessarily be with the product breaking. It could just be with just the week is just not going well, and you might have lost some contracts, or you might have lost some business. But I feel like what gets you through is the passion, and this is why culture within the team is the most important thing. Is if you don't have a good culture within the team, if you're not passionate about what you do, it's so easy to get down on yourself and to feel defeated and to just accept that you lost. But when there is that passion and you have that team environment and that great culture, you feel like there's nothing that can stop you. Even if a device breaks, even if things go south, you are just, so up and so confident and so passionate about what you do that you're able to, overcome all of these problems. I feel like, especially in times of like distress or chaos, or even during COVID, in a situation of crisis, what gets you through the finish line is passion and not skill. Skill obviously is going to help you. It's very important, but it's the passion that will really get you through those hard times. Devices break, and we've all been there. Where the doctor asks to use the device, or you talk about the device and they agree to using it, or it's an evaluation or a trial, and things don't go great. But at that point, how you get through it is the pre-work, and then the during work is talking to the doctor. And if this is an evaluation, you don't just they agree to use it for a few cases or for a week or 2 weeks. And if it breaks once, or if something doesn't go great, then get them to use it again. It might have been user error, it might have been a fluke. Things happen. Your TV breaks, your coffee machine will break. Things sometimes don't go the way that they're intended to go. So if you are, again, honest with the doctor or with the customer ahead of time, and you set the expectations right, you talk about what does success look like for you. Can you at least use it, try it for 4 or 5 cases? That way you can form a great opinion on it, because one case, it might not be a great case. Something might go south. You might not form the best opinion about it. But again, if you go and you do the pre-work and you ask the right questions, and then you set up you define what success is, then even if something does go south, you have an opportunity to fix it moving forward.
Yes. Oh my gosh. That's so true. And you brought another interest. I love this subject about culture. Oh my gosh, you guys, I can't tell you, like when I was a spine rep, I was by myself. Like nobody was helping me, and it can feel very lonely because you're literally trying to basically do everything on your own. Nobody's teaching you about sales technique. I even had to watch a YouTube to learn about spine because I wasn't trained properly. And I remember coming from spine and moving to a bigger company. Holy crap, what a difference. Because not only that they train you really well, but they also have all these different people that you can go up to. I mean, starting with your team, okay? If you don't like your team, guys, it's not going to work out. If you don't have a good dynamic, it's not going to work out, okay? And I have, again, we're talking different personalities. So of course, you're going to have personalities that you just don't agree with, but it doesn't mean that it won't work out. The way I do it when those things were to happen, well, first of all, you don't want to start drama, right? You want to be able to communicate your feelings, okay? And a lot of times they do understand because again, like we're all high functioning individual, and unfortunately high functioning smart people are going to have 20 different personalities. That's just life. But it doesn't mean that when you encounter someone that's just like, I just don't believe in what he's trying to do or what she's trying to do, it doesn't mean that it's the end of the world. A lot of times you just have to be able to open up and share with them, hey, my sales approach is just a little bit different than yours. Doesn't make it right, doesn't make it wrong, but here's where the boundaries starts. Okay, so I think like in any relationships, boundaries are huge, right? Because otherwise, how does the other person know that you don't like what they're doing? And instead of talking crap behind their back, just talk to them straight up. Hey, it really bothers me when you do this. And I would like for you to do this instead, or maybe a little bit of space will be better, or maybe I don't know. I mean, there's all these different approaches that you can do, but my point here being is you got to love your team. And if you don't like a team member in your team, you got to be able to express that with them. Let's talk about that, Sergio. I mean, I haven't encountered this yet, luckily, knock on wood. But how about you? Like, what do you say about this?
I think that it's super important to be honest with your team and talk about what works for you, what doesn't work for you, because end of the day, you all work together in some way. It could be directly in a case you partner with someone. You could have a clinical specialist who covers cases on your behalf. Or it could be a manager, it could be another sales rep in the district who you don't really interact very often, but you could share ideas with. Or but everyone has a say and a stake in the overall culture of the team. And like we said, the stronger the culture is, the better perform, the better the team district will perform. And I think it's super important to be able to talk to your teammates about what you like, what you don't like, what you can improve on. Ask them for feedback. Hey, well, what can I do better? It's always easy to go to your close friends and family and say, rate me or critique me. What can I do better? What are my weaknesses? But going to those who you're not so close with, I think, is a great way to build that rapport with them, build the relationship. Find out, hey, what can I do better? What can I do better as a teammate, as a sales rep, as a manager, whatever your position is. So I know it might be uncomfortable, but taking that step and speaking to them and finding out ways that you can improve will go a long way, because I think then in return they might do the same, and the relationship might just get a lot better.
Yes, and exactly what he said. The relationship might just get a lot better because now the walls are off, right? You're not kind of like when you're coming into a brand new relationship, a romantic relationship. You build all this wall up to protect yourself from pain or from getting judged. But then the moment you actually like, hey, let me give you a block at a time, and let's work on this together, and that's when the relationship flourishes. You guys, I mean, the number one, you ask anybody, whether it's a couple has been married for 60, 80 years, or whether it's a work relationship to where they became best friends. Now they're the groomsmen at their wedding. You ask them like, what made this relationship last? And that's communication. Okay, that's being able to constantly communicate your feelings towards the other person, because people do grow and people do change. Like, I wasn't the same guy that 10 years ago. I've grown a lot because I made a lot of mistakes and I've learned from it. Okay, and I always like to use this is a quote from Oprah: when things go south, it's not happening to you, it's happening for you. So there's a reason for it. Okay, rejection is God's protection. I always say this to people because a lot of times we tend to feel sorry or feel down on ourselves when things don't go properly, when things go south in the sales process. And a lot of times, guys, sometimes it's just timing. Okay, timing is everything in life, right? Sometimes all you got to do is take a step back and maybe reach back out in 6 months and see where they're at. Because it's not always, even though you have like the best technology, oh my gosh, they're gonna love this. You have to understand too, like hospitals they have budgets. A lot of times they don't really want to deal with installing a new product or dealing with evaluation, because it does add a lot of work to them. Okay, let's talk about that, Sergio. Why is it important to be very specific with understanding? Hey, when things don't go well right now or your way, it doesn't mean it's forever. Like, all you gotta do is come reach back out to them in 6 months and see where they're at as far as their process goes.
For sure, and in it, whether you're selling capital and you get one sale every one big sale every 4 years, or you're in disposables and you're looking at selling every day, there's always going to be a situation where the timing is just not right. And there's many different reasons. You mentioned a few, but that's when showing up every day and still being there goes a long way, and finding other ways to add value. I think reps get caught into this mindset of sell. And if they're not selling, then they feel like they're not doing anything. But there's so many other ways that they can add value to their customer. And people take notice of this, and especially the doctors, when they see that this rep is doing all of these extra activities beyond just being in the room selling, or doing an in-service, for example, but they're really a partner in my, they're really a partner in my practice, and they're invested in me, they're invested in my patients, invested in the practice. Things just naturally tend to go the sales reps' way. So you might not see the fruits of the labor paying off right this second, but if you dedicate your time, you find ways to add value outside of the OR, eventually your time will come. And when your time comes, you know that you're there to seize it, and you know that you've done all this work, you've outworked your competition, you've added all this extra value that your competition did not do. So when it's time for a new contract, when it's time for a new sale, you know that you've done everything. You have all the confidence in there. So now it's just a matter of going in there and making that free throw.
Yes, yes. Free throw is right, you guys. I mean, you just open up all these opportunities. You just open up the door. You just open up an opportunity to have a long lasting relationship with your doc. I mean, I remember when I was an OR rep, I would even help them tie their scrub or their gown, like any little thing, push the trash away or help the nurses to move things away. Or maybe if they need to get something out of, like a tool, for example, maybe they're busy. You run and look for that tool for them. And all those little things that you guys do, everybody sees that in the room. Okay. There's one secret. I mean, it's not a secret anymore because I tell everyone. When I was an OR rep, I would stay until the doctor ungowns. And I will ask him this question: Doc, is there anything I could have done better? Is there anything I could have done better? And that's asking for feedback. That's not showing the guy that, hey, I know it all. No, I don't know it all, but could I have made this experience a lot better for you? And a lot of times they're going to give you good feedback, you guys. Not that you're asking for it, but it's kind of, it adds value. Okay. Going back to value, it adds, if they respect you more, you're not just now another Me Too product that's just going in and out. Like I hate when I see reps. It's like the moment their implants are all put in, they just bail. I'm like, you didn't even thank the surgeon, and what if they have to remove stuff? Now they're going to have to find you. So here are the things, you guys. This is really, really important. And to Serge's point, you want to be a part of the team, okay? Because initially, they're gonna look at you as an outsider because you are a rep, right? You don't work with them every day. But the moment you build that relationship to where you're part of the team, that's when life changes for you. Let's talk about that, Sergio. Like what are some things that you do, like not tricks, but like value add that you do in the OR when you're covering a case that really adds, that basically sets you apart from your competitors?
There's many, little things, big things that you can do. Some of the things that I do is, I'm never late, and I'm always early. Always early to the case, chatting with the team before, seeing if they need any help with pulling product. That way, when it's go time, everything's already set up. One thing that I do specifically right now is, in some hospitals, there might be some scrub techs or circulators who aren't really familiar with some of our vascular products. So I take the time before the case, if the opportunity arises, to show them a few things or pull the product the doctor is going to use. That way, when the case starts, we're not wasting any time, and I'm pulling all the product before, and that way we ensure the case just runs smoothly. So they seem to really appreciate. Guy, are you still? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah.
You went black for a second, so I didn't know if I lost you. So it's just taking the time before the case just to ensure that things go smooth. So the scrub tech and then the circulator really, really appreciate the fact that you took time out of your day and you came in early to help, train them, and because if things don't go well in the case, the first thing that happens is the doctor gets mad at the scrub tech and like, why, I asked for this, why didn't you give me this, or this is the wrong thing. So I feel that builds a lot of rapport and trust with the scrub tech and the circular team. In services, I try to do as many in services as possible on a monthly basis. going around every hospital, and just there's always a new person out there. There's always someone who maybe missed the previous in service. Education goes a very, very long way. So I try to base. I try to use my the education and the training sort of aspect of the job to find a way to really get close to the team and really have them see me as a team member and not just as, oh, here comes another sales rep who's here to sell another product.
I know, it's funny. Like, now that you say that, now I walk into NICUs and PICUs, because that's who I sell to, and ORs. They already know my name, and I would just casually walk up to them, like, have as if I'm already part of the team, and that takes time, you guys. And to Sergio's point, like, education is huge. Like, if they don't know how to use your product properly, they're not going to use it. Okay, especially in my case, to where I'm not always in the rooms to teach them how to use my stuff, because I sell to big hospital institutions. I do capital equipment sales, obviously, and you guys have to take the time. And I would, when I travel a lot, but I make sure that all of my customers are taken care of when I'm in town. I will just show up and be like, is there anything I can do to assist you guys? And a lot of times you'll find a problem, and you're like, now you look like a superhero, because they're like, oh my gosh, Gaida, we've been dealing with this. I'm so glad you showed up and checked in on us. And that's really important. It doesn't matter if the sale already happened, like you already made the money. Show up, because you don't know if you can grow that opportunity, if you can get more monitors, or sell more monitors out of it, or maybe sensor usage out of it. All of those things are so important, you guys. And I guess, like, and this is me not hating on other reps, but just being real here. That's why I created the show, so I can say whatever I want. Is that I find that other reps, the moment they make that sale, they're like, bye, move on to the next one. So Sergio, let's talk about that. How important it is to, like, go back to your old customers and really make sure that hey, everything is working well, that they're not having any issues with whatever. Let's talk about that. Oh, I think he froze, you guys. See, this is the problem with internet. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. Since Sergio's frozen, I'm just going to end this episode, because I feel like you guys really got a lot out of it already. I know, like, a huge part of this, of course, we're doing online. So you're dealing with technology. We just talked about technology earlier, right? And I think it's important to really know how, I think he's trying to log back on, know how to pivot when certain things like this happen. So we're just going to end it. Today's episode 21 of the Device Diaries, and I titled it Don't Fake It Until You Make It. And I will make sure, Sergio, I know I lost you there for a second. I don't know if you can hear me. You're still frozen.
Lost you too for a few minutes. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you. Okay, so I think what we should do, since the internet's a little spotty, let's just wrap it up. Okay, so today is episode 21 of the Device Diary. Sergio, thank you so much for joining me. And can you tell my viewers, how can they find you? How can they follow you?
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn, so feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm more than happy to chat. Anything I can do to help you all out. I don't know the level of experience. It could be someone that's trying to break into the industry, or someone new, or someone experienced. Always happy to chat and share my knowledge, the little that I have with you all. So Gaida, it's been a pleasure. Always great working with you, and this has been fun. So I really appreciate the opportunity to share with you all.
Thank you, Sergio. And again, you guys, make sure, so this episode airs out next Monday, okay? And I'm definitely going to release some clips. So please follow Sergio, message him on LinkedIn, connect with him, ask questions. Don't be afraid to do that. Okay, that's what we're here for. And yeah, just be you guys. Be authentic. Don't fake it till you make it. And be sure to watch another episode of the Device Diaries. I release it every Mondays. I'm on Spotify, Amazon Music, Deezer, Podchaser, Player FM, Listen Notes. So I hope you guys have a great day, and I hope you guys learned something from today's episode. Thank you for joining, and we'll talk soon. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.